I have in my notes here the reason Major League Wiffle Ball is so much cooler than Major League Baseball is because they have 162 games, and who cares,
Right.
you know? But literally, if you guys get swept in your game this week,
It's all she wrote.
it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad.
That Gators under that I picked is looking pretty good if that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, it certainly is.
Gotcha. You got a lot of Dallas Allen stock in your portfolio.
Tons of it.
A lot of it. Hey, welcome back to Fade the Mahoney. This is our Tuesday series recap edition for Major League Wiffle Ball. We had a less than competitive series between the Gators and the Eagles. And Trevor has some thoughts before we get into his breakdown. From a gambling point of view, it was a great series for me. I had the over 10.5. And Trevor, if I told you before the series that one of the teams would score a total of 0 runs, you'd feel pretty good about having the under, I bet, right?
Yeah, you'd have to feel pretty good.
Yeah, but it worked out for me because it was a pretty low total. We are amping those up going forward because people are just hitting the ball too well. Other gambling point of view, in our first ever ladder competition, thanks to MLW Stats on Instagram, Trevor took Chris Cheatham. I had Dirty Dan Schultz. That went my way pretty easily. So good day for me. Good series for me. Not so good for Trevor. Trevor, go for it. What are we talking about today?
Yeah, not good for me in the singular sense of that series, but good for my look, the way that I look for the season based on the season preview. You know, I had the Gators under 6.5 wins. That's looking pretty good right now. We'll talk about that a little bit later. I also had the Eagles as a pretty good bet to win the whole thing. That's looking pretty good the way they look. And obviously we had all the Dallas Allen stock, and my God, that's the first thing we got to start with, Dallas Allen. Awesome to see Daniel give him the ball in the third game, right?
Mm-hmm.
He had 2 complete game shutout no-hitters.
Mm-hmm.
On the day, he had 5 total walks. The one game, he was 1 walk away from a perfect game. 15 strikeouts, no hits, no runs. Dominant performance on the mound. They could barely get the ball and play against him. The hardest hit ball was probably the last one of the game that, and I think Zach made a great play at shortstop there.
Yep.
Just dominant. And then on top of that, at the plate, 4 for 8, 4 RBIs, 6 walks. He had a streak where he had 10 consecutive plate appearances where he got on base. I mean, the trouble that we had with the Eagles in the past was that they couldn't hit the ball. That's not the case now. I mean, Daniel is always inconsistent with hitting. He's going to hit homers or nothing pretty much. And you saw that in the game. He hit a 3-run homer. That's what he does. He hits big home runs when people are on base. Zach is just a good player all around, and he was amazing this series hitting. He was 5 for 11. Zach Whalen was 5 for 11, 5 RBIs, 2 home runs, and he got a home run stolen from him by Jorge in that first game. And he hit he just was seeing the ball great. He got the bat on the ball almost every time he was up. I think he struck out maybe twice or maybe 3 times at the most. There were some other plays where they made a play on him, but he got RBIs and stuff like that. So overall, Eagles dominant.
You obviously are well more versed in Major League Wiffle Ball than I am. I'm playing some catch up here. One of the notes I had is if the Whalen kid is going to hit like that, they're going to be playing for a long time. Because the other 2 guys on the mound they're gonna be all right.
Yeah, Zach's been in the league for a very long time. He and Daniel are buddies, and they've been together for a very long time. He's shown flashes here and there. He's always been good at getting on base. He's good at putting the bat in the ball, and he can come through with some big homers at times. So he's one of those X factor guys that you really need to come through. And if he's coming through, like you said, it's going to be tough to beat them. And then on top of that, I mean, Landon, he didn't have many hits in this series, but he could tell he was having good at bats, and he just gets the bat and the ball constantly in good spots. He got them off to a good start in that first game with a big hit. And you can see he's a good contact hitter. Like, he's not going to get struck out too much. He's going to have a good eye. He's a good 4th piece for that team. And then obviously, like we talked about Dallas already. And so they are just a very good, solid team, and they look like they're going to be tough to beat. While we still have eyeballs on there, we know people don't always stick around to the end.
Shout out to Dallas. Had some communications with him. Almost got him on this show today, but the guy eats, sleeps, and breathes baseball and wiffle ball. He's actually playing in baseball showcase right now, so we couldn't get him on. We are going to talk to him down the road. But for this coming week's preview, which is a pretty big series, we've got Jimmy Knorp joining us. So pretty exciting stuff to look forward to. All right, back to that series. In your opinion, I have my own thoughts. What was the best thing about the Gators in the series?
So if you're looking for bright spots from the Gators, I guess you can look to maybe Reese Harris's fielding performance. He had a couple nice plays in the field at first base. I mean, you're really trying to get the best you can out of it. Cheatham actually didn't pitch that bad in the first game. There was some fielding. Georgie had a couple of fielding lapses out there. He had the one good play where he knocked the ball in, but it seems like his pitches were working pretty well. But then they just started seeing him too well, and in that third inning, there was two big plays where Georgie didn't knock the ball down and got away from him, and then they scored a couple of runs, and Cheatham walked one guy in, and then they just couldn't hit Dallas or Daniel. Like they just had no chance. And I mean, I think that's gonna be the case for a lot of teams this year. You know, we saw it in the first series as well. Like the Eagles just have great pitching. They're gonna have probably the lowest team ERA in the history of MLW. Maybe I have to look back and see maybe in some previous years where there was dominant pitching performances, but these are just two really great pitchers. What else can you take for the Gators? I guess the best. Yeah,
I was just gonna say, from the gambling point of view, setting the totals for the Eagles games or for their series going forward, that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's something. I mean, we saw 5 runs in their first series.
Yep.
And now we had what? It was 6-0, 3-0, and 4-0.
I think it was 5. I think it
5-0. Yeah, 14 total runs. I think it was.
Yeah.
14 total runs with their team, the opposing team having 0.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna guess most of the series are gonna come in at 12.5, 13.5, just because you pick a number in there, and it could swing wildly from 5 to 15 probably.
Well, I'll make you this promise. If the next one they play, if you make 13.5, I'll take the under.
You're gonna take the under on that one. Yeah, that's
If
the
you
thing.
make it, just let you know. The answer to the question, at least from my point of view, the best thing about the Gators in this previous series was Georgie's new mustache.
That was pretty strong. I like that, but it clearly didn't work, so he's gonna have to switch it up.
Nope, it
Maybe
didn't.
go with maybe the chin strap, like the full chin strap.
Oh, that's a good idea. We're big fans of the Gators here. They've been very supportive of the show. We've had both Cheatham and Georgie on the show. We love those guys. We wish nothing but the best for them. And if we put a positive spin on it, correct me if I'm wrong, you only don't make the playoffs if you come in last, right?
That is true. They are not eliminated from the playoffs by any means.
Yeah.
Even though we're only that's only 2 series in. The Mallards and D-backs play this weekend, and if the Mallards sweep the D-backs, then they're in the same spot. They just got to beat out one team to make it in the playoffs, and then anything can happen. Especially with a team like the Gators that can get hot with the bats and their pitching can turn on. I think what you're seeing, I mean, the Eagles have always seemed to hit the Gators pitching well, but this was my concern with the Gators coming into the season is a lot of the guys in the league have seen Cheatham and Jorgensen a lot. They have great pitchers. They're good pitchers. But if they're guessing correctly, and that's what you saw with the Eagles, they knew what was coming. You heard Dallas. I don't know if you heard Dallas after he hit his home run. He said, "I knew that was coming." And that's shots fired. That's like, I'm in your head. I know what you're doing pitching wise. And so that was one of my concerns with the Eagles coming in, or I'm sorry, the Gators coming into the season, is that they can be a little bit erratic at times pitching, from not throwing a lot of strikes. And then if they do throw a strike and they're waiting on it, that's what you saw happen. Lots of home runs, Zach with 2 and Daniel with 1, Dallas with 1. So yeah, I guess the silver lining for us at Faith and Mahoney is that now that Cheatham might be on the trade block, we might have, if he can go to a different team, we'll have people that will come on the show from different teams also, since we've had Georgie and Cheatham on, and it's fun to shake up the league a little bit,
Yeah. Social media has been a buzz the last few days of that clip where we specifically talked to him about what happens if they get swept.
Yeah.
And it happened. and maybe something will happen. But again, the Mallards and the Diamondbacks play this Friday. That's dropping this Friday. And if we see another sweep one way or another, then you have basically the two bottom teams still very much alive. So
Yeah. The other point that I want to make, or at least just talk about a little bit, was Reese Harris. Cheatham talked about, could Reese Harris be the thing that changes things up for them? And it's hard. I mean, you throw him into his first MLW game facing Dallas and Daniel. I mean, that's difficult. You're not gonna be used to seeing these pitches. And what Dallas and Daniel did so well pitching, obviously they did a lot well pitching, but the fact that they were able to stay directly under the speed limit and locate, how many pitches did you hear them say, oh, that was 72, that was 72, 72 in perfect locations, movement, like that's just hard to hit, man. That's got to be tough. And to throw, a rookie in there facing them for the first time is got to be pretty difficult. Zerlag pretty much did nothing the entire game. I mean, the whole team obviously did not very much the entire game. They didn't get any hits in the second and third game. So it's kind of hard to find anything to be happy about if you're the Gators. And the schedule doesn't get any easier for them.
Yeah, so they still have the Mallards and the D-backs, right?
Yep. No, I'm sorry. They have the Mallards. Yeah, I'm sorry. They have the Mallards and D-backs. Yes, that's right.
Yeah. They're going to have to win some of those games.
Yeah.
I just made an investment. I think I shared in the future, made some investment in some shirts. So I have a Gators Cheatham shirt en route. So maybe that'll be a collector's item soon. If that rumored Cheatham for bottom trade ever happens.
You might have to just like slap a different logo over the front of it.
All right. Or just buy another one, I guess. Anything we didn't cover? We got everything?
I think that we covered everything. This is a reminder to you to remind me that when we do have Dallas on, I'd really like to hear, or any other of the baseball players, I'd like to hear what their coaches think about them playing wiffle ball during the season, and if they notice that it affects their swing in any way. Because from experience with my son, who loves to play wiffle ball every single day, that can tamper with their swing a little bit, and then you got to get back in the cages and ironing things out.
Okay, I'll make a note. Last thing for me, shout out to my oldest daughter, who's heard me chatter about Major League Wiffle Ball for the past several months. She fired up the old YouTube yesterday and just started watching. And she got through, she watched game 3 of last year's World Series. She watched 2 days in September. And she's watched, I think, 3 of the 5 series for this season already. So shout out to Jordan.
That's awesome, because that's actually her peers.
Yes. And it does make me an excellent father, no matter what anybody else thinks.
I agree.
All right. That'll do. Oh, you got a bet. We got to put in a bet. You ready?
Yeah.
We have a hockey game tonight, right?
Do we? Is there hockey still going on?
I think so. The one series was a sweep. There should be. The Rangers and Lightning are playing today. It's in Tampa Bay. One of your many homes is in Tampa Bay. They're pretty big favorites. They're minus 170 or plus 150 back on the Rangers. Total is 5.5. Give the people something to bet on.
Easy pick here. Go Bolts, go. Tampa Bay is a huge hockey town.
And really cold down there. Lots of ice.
And then we're going to go with the over. There's going to be lots of goals in this game. I mean, the Lightning have a ton of great goal scorers. They love to put the puck in the net. They love to hit the twinges. What is it? Twing the, I don't know.
Score goals. Is that what you meant?
Score goals. Yeah.
All right. And shout out Spec Brad.
Yes.
Big fan of the Lightning. All right. That's today's show. We covered.
Lifelong.
What's that?
Lifelong fan of the Lightning.
Yeah. All right. We covered last series. Did I mention we have Jimmy Knorp coming up for Robles versus Knorp? Is that pretty cool? That's pretty cool. I was a big fan of the one tweet that I saw Mr. Robles send out recently. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's pretty cool. All right. Thanks again, Trevor. Good gambling, everybody.